Dave Kaufman in for Elias. Hope you feel better, bud, and hopefully he'll be back in the chair tomorrow. Joining me on the Big Five this morning, CJ 8800 News anchor Trudy Mason and former Liberal Cabinet Minister and Council at Fasken, David Hertel. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start with a report this morning that the former mayor of Montreal, Denis Coderre, will not seek the leadership of the provincial Liberals. Radio-Canada says that Coderre prefers to leave the field open to his friend Alexandre Cusson, who announced his candidacy several weeks ago. Instead, Coderre is reported to be preparing to take another run at the Montreal mayor's job. Trudy, do you think Coderre can win round 2 against Valérie Plante, or is his time better spent elsewhere?
Well, if elsewhere is seeking the leadership of the provincial Liberals, I say no. I think, you know what, I think Montreal is his bailiwick. I know he was an MP in Ottawa for a long time, but he loves this city. He wants to fight for this city. He wants to represent this city and make this city bigger on the international stage. So I see him being more interested in municipal politics. Can he win? I think many of the people who may have cast ballots for the Plante administration, for the party's platform, are coming to see that while they may have liked one element of the platform, the other elements are really irritating. And I point specifically to the war on motorists. And I think, for example, a lot of people who voted against the pit bull ban and voted for Valérie Plante against the pit bull ban are now finding that occasionally they like to be able to drive over the mountain and don't particularly like that it's really hard to find parking, in some neighborhoods now. So does he have a chance, though? Never say never in politics, I guess.
David, we'll get to the 2 pedestrian deaths and the war on motorists in a second. But I wonder if people simply voted about one issue. But we'll get to that after. I want to know if you think that Coderre has a shot against Valérie Plante.
He definitely has a shot. I think the issue here, and these are way, way early days, but Denis Coderre is going to have to deal with municipal electoral math. And what that means is that, we kind of never really look at what it takes to actually win a municipal election. And Montreal is not the island of Montreal. It's different boroughs. And contrary to our other systems federally and provincially, this is not elected seats that determine who leads the government. It's a popular vote.
It's a numbers game, exactly.
It's a numbers game. And Denis Coderre, when he won the municipal election in 2013, remember, he won with barely 33% of the popular vote. And the second time around, he garnered, 45%?
And what was the turnout?
And important. Very good turnout for municipal election. And so the question here is he able to create that coalition? Because Valérie Plante has a very solid block of voters. And can he create a coalition? And can he bring back all the Ensemble Montréal people that some of them are still, not very happy with the way things turned out with Denis Coderre. So he has to build bridges. If a man can do it, he can. But the other piece is there cannot be a third candidacy. It has to be a one against one, because if a third person or a fourth person gets in there, that helps Valérie Plante.
And just a reminder, Kathy Wong, the elected councillor for Peter McGill, who's with Projet but was with Équipe Coderre, will be joining us today for our City Hall segment at 11:30. If Denis Coderre does this, though, who's going to run the new Expos? I don't understand. I'm very confused.
Well, again, that's the thing. If the Expos, because Denis Coderre has 2 passions. Yes, Montreal, as Trudy said, but the Montreal Expos is his other passion. And if there is a deal between now and, say, the beginning of 2021, and there is a team in Montreal, and if he gets the job, a lot of ifs.
Right.
But that could be the only thing that prevents him from running.
I mean, he might make more money running the Expos than running the city.
Well, he's making more money now, and he's having, he's doing great jobs. He's on boards for the Caisse de Dépôt. He works for Stingray. He works for the Jewish General Hospital Foundation. He's doing great work, and he lost a ton of weight. He's really transformed his
boxing.
life. He's boxing. We're boxing together at the same club. He's doing great. I mean, he's really transformed himself, and so I mean, he's a great asset wherever he's going to be, and he's contributing to Montreal right now. And in any position, he's going to do an amazing job.
I wonder, though, about, he also lost his marriage. And I think he's made public comments that politics not very helpful.
It's not
to running, contributing to a marriage and a family. And now maybe his kids are older now. He apparently has a new relationship after he divorced his wife.
He does.
All you have to do is see it on Facebook. It's
He
very
does.
public.
No, yeah, and he's in love. And he's very happy, and he has pieced together, the relationships with his children as well. No, he's doing great.
But would you, if you were his best friend, advise him? Oh yeah, seek the mayoralty again. Would you say that to a guy who obviously it took a real toll on him?
It did.
That the work, all politics, I think, take a toll. And anyway, I like Coderre. I supported Coderre in the last election over the alternatives. I think that the Plante administration is vulnerable in the outlying boroughs. Certainly in my borough, and there's no traction for her politics in Pierrefonds.
Which is still run by...
Which was a Coderre.
Yes,
right.
which is
still a
Coderre loyalist riding. So Plante is not a monolith. The Plante administration is going to have to fight for its life.
Oh, because it got elected based on what? The pink line? And we know that's going nowhere. And it got elected, the two main promises, remember? It was the pink line and taxes. And on those two issues,
well, the first
they
one
didn't
fell
deliver.
within a couple of months.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, but I mean,
Yeah.
they did not
taxes.
deliver on both their key issues.
The pink line fell as the second that the CAQ
There you go.
got into power. But I thought that so much of what those that I heard who voted for Plante, to me, it was almost like a protest vote against Coderre. They weren't voting so much for her
definitely.
as they were voting against dog killing,
Formula
as they
E.
were against car races downtown.
The electric car race.
They were against the amount of money that was spent on the 375th anniversary. Some people may be voting against lights on a bridge. I'm not sure.
I think you're right. I mean, the circumstances, and it wasn't. And Denis Coderre, even he says it didn't run a great campaign. Sure. And while Valérie Plante ran a very good campaign, we have to give her that. But at the same time, now she's not running against. She's not the upstart anymore.
Right.
She's the incumbent.
Yeah.
And she has a track record which is vulnerable, as Trudy says.
And I'll tell you, on that track record, the fact that pedestrians just keep getting run over by cars. And when we come back, I want to talk about the fact that 2020 is we're 9 days in, and there are already 2 pedestrian deaths. Is this something that we just need to accept as Montrealers, or is there someone to blame and something that can be done?
Because your opinion matters. Elias Makos, CJAD 800.
9:16, good morning. I'm Dave Kaufman in for Elias, and on the Big Five this morning, CJAD 800 news anchor Trudy Mason and the former Liberal cabinet minister who's now counsel at Fasken, David Hertel. Guys, let's continue with these pedestrian deaths. It's 2020, 9 days in, already 2 pedestrian deaths, both women in their 70s who were struck by cars making left-hand turns. Neither driver was violating any traffic law, and just like every single pedestrian death last year, it seems that no charges will be laid. Is this something that we're just going to have to accept? I mean, these things happen sometimes, and there's nothing we can do to prevent it. But is there really nobody to blame, Trudy?
I find that a tough question to answer because sometimes an accident is simply an accident. I think fundamentally it always comes down to the driver. And I would assume that anyone who is injured or heaven forbid killed someone with their car, even in a quote unquote accident, lives with the guilt of that for the rest of their lives. I know I would, even if I was not to blame.
Sure.
Even if it was someone who ran out in front of my car, I would still blame myself. I think we've taken steps over the years in the right direction. On a lot of municipal streets, side streets, we've lowered the speed limit. Motorists have complained bitterly about that they're so crazy low, like 30 kilometers an hour, that you actually have to ride the brake, driving to your home. I know that in our neighborhood, I've heard that. Where the Plante administration, I think, is doing well with its promise to improve pedestrian crossings at intersections, giving pedestrians longer to get across the street and more protected time and so on. I don't understand why these accidents are rising. I can only blame larger vehicles that motorists are having trouble controlling, especially on slippery roads, and driver inattention.
David.
Well, we have very limited facts on these two accidents. It's always hard to draw conclusions. Obviously, it's tragic. But at the same time, this is also a function that we have more seniors out there. People are more active.
And more cars.
And more cars. So I think the situation is we're going to have more people out there walking around. The reflexes, we have older people driving, more cars, older people getting out there. The numbers are getting bigger. We are a bigger city. We have more people. People are walking more, and the thing is that there are going to be accidents, and that's it. I hate this reflex where the minute something happens, oh, we have to legislate, we have to regulate, we have to change something, and somebody has to be blamed. No, people have to take their own responsibility also. The drivers and the people who are walking, they have to be careful.
There is distracted walking too.
There is. No, on both sides. We don't have the facts. And again, I don't want to shed blame on anybody. We don't know the facts. We don't know what happened. All we know is that there doesn't seem to be any real infraction from the side of the drivers. We don't know what happened.
You ever see those distracted walking videos where someone's like on
you're
their cell
talking,
phone? And
you're
they're pole?
I didn't even have a cell phone on St. Catherine Street. I walked right into a parking meter, like full speed, because I was staring at a store window, walking along. I mean, heaven's
you
sakes.
can be distracted, whatever, old or not. And so take also responsibility. We don't have to start an inquiry and have a commission and public consultation.
Well, hold on.
And,
is that what
and,
anybody? Is that what we said?
But you're seeing in the paper. Well, you're seeing the mayor saying, well, we have to do more and this and that, and talking about what police needs to do more. And we did a public outreach consultation. Blah blah blah. I mean, okay, yes, we have to do more to talk to people about traffic safety, but also talk about be responsible.
But the question is how. I do think it comes down to driver education to a large degree. Just in relation to the most recent deaths at the end of last year, there was an article I read about how the uprights on either end of your windshield in many modern cars are wider than they used to be. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, when you're making a turn, your vision to the sides is affected. You cannot see. And I had no clue that was a thing until it happened to me in my own neighborhood. I was making a left-hand turn, and I didn't see two pedestrians who were walking together who were about to step off the sidewalk, because that part of and I don't even have a big car. I just have an ordinary car. Now I'm so careful about checking, and I think it's that type of discussion we have to have too.
That exact thing happened to me, Trudy, but I was the pedestrian. And it seemed so obvious. The car was at the stop sign. I was crossing through the crosswalk, and he just started to go. And I yelled out this word that I would never say on the radio. And he rolled his window down and looked at me with this look of shock. He was white and like a ghost, and just said, "I swear I didn't see you. I am so sorry." What are you going to do?
So when you're at a stop, you both have to make eye contact. Mm-hmm. When I drive or when I walk at a stop sign, I make sure I make eye contact with the driver. I do. Or the pedestrian if I'm driving.
Trudy mentioned larger cars too, and I wonder if that's we've heard some evidence that the prevalence of SUVs on the roads, and maybe not everybody's used to driving it, but guaranteed my Civic stops a lot quicker than that SUV does. Mm-hmm. So maybe there is some education, maybe not we don't need a white paper on this, and I understand that. David,
there you go, because somebody's going to say, okay, we need a new regulation on SUVs, on cars. Somebody's going to say it.
Well, I don't know. I mean, Luke Ferrandez isn't in politics anymore, so I'm not sure. Let's keep going, guys. The CAQ wants to slap an expiration date on your home appliances. In theory, it's to fight planned obsolescence, but critics, especially retailers, say it's going to lead to more people throwing out older models that work perfectly well and could even create scenarios like your home insurance rejecting a claim because your water heater was expired. What do you think? Is a best before date for your fridge a good idea, Dave?
It's not. It's not. This is something, this is right out of a focus group. It polls well because consumers, and it's true. We know that companies there is this thing now called programmed obsolescence. But this is first of all, this is a bill that was introduced by Guy Ouellet, who's an independent M&A at the National Assembly. The government hasn't said it was going to go ahead with this bill.
Is he in the pockets of big dishwasher?
No. No, not Guy Ouellet. I'm sure he's not in the pocket of the big dishwasher lobby. But the thing is that this is social engineering gone wrong. I mean, stop it. Instead, call out these companies and make sure the consumer protection agencies do their work. That's their job, to protect the consumer. So we have a consumer protection agency in Quebec. We have the same thing in Canada. Let them do their jobs and make sure that the consumers are properly informed about the products they're buying and also how to use their products correctly. And so that's what you need to do. And first of all, we're far from a bill here. And there are consequences. And the different industries are talking about the consequences, because if there's a best before date, you have to throw away now your dishwasher that works perfectly well? I mean, what is that? Let's talk about climate change. Let's talk about sustainable development here for a second. We're just going to throw away something that works perfectly well now? Makes no sense.
Well, I always thought that appliances did have a best before date, and it's what was written on the warranty. So, they've been pretty upfront, only a year.
Which you have to pay for, the warranty, by the way.
Extended warranty, how can I lose?
But it does, I will separate out a certain category. If you're talking about pre-programmed obsolescence, because so many of these devices have built-in computers now, onboard computers in home appliances. It's crazy. My washer dryer does stuff that I never would have thought possible even like 20 years ago. Building in,
David and I were like, what? What
stuff?
I can steam stuff in my dryer.
You cook a meal in your dryer?
No, you refresh. You get wrinkles out. I mean, I never use it, but it's kind of crazy. What point? I was making a point about what I think should be illegal is using onboard computers to actually program the death of the thing without telling the consumer. So, and don't put
Is
it
that
by
a thing?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
I'm only saying, if I were an evil appliance manufacturer, I would definitely make that a thing, where all of a sudden the computer conks out, or you program it to give you a mechanical failure alert after 5 years or whatever you want, in order to drive people back for parts and labor and replacements and stuff. So I think that is an evil possibility, and that should be outright illegal.
See,
we should have legislation for that.
I told you there's a big dishwasher.
But
there's big dishwasher. There's big everything. And at the end, it's all Apple controlling everything.
You know, you always heard that in what Trudy just said about Apple, but I got to tell you, I've had this phone for 5 years now, and it works perfectly.
There you go.
Maybe they forgot to put the kill switch in my iPhone.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Let's keep going here. Peter MacKay and Jean Charest are getting into the conservative, not the federal liberal leadership race. Not the provincial liberal. No, we're going to go with federal Tories here. Jean Charest, we've heard this conversation a little bit, and I'm curious what you think, David, because Jean Charest did not finish his 10-year run as a popular politician in the province of Quebec, and yet I have not heard a peep about how things ended when they talk about him being someone who Quebecers can get behind and vote for federally.
But at the same time, he didn't finish that unpopular. Remember, in 2012, the Liberals came within 4 seats of beating the PQ and forming a government. It was 54-40, and the popular vote was 32-31 for the PQ. Let's remember that.
That's 30% of Quebecers.
Yeah. But we have presently a majority government that was elected with 37.5% of Quebecers. I mean, and right now in Ottawa, we have a minority government that was elected with 33% of the popular vote. Mm-hmm. And the Conservatives did just 1 point better, and they were the most popular party in the country. So, and Jean Charest, what he can do is bring in Ontario and Quebec and win more seats. But the thing is, what this illustrates, what Peter MacKay and Jean Charest are illustrating right now, really, what there is currently a civil war within the Conservative Party.
Yeah, we saw it. We saw it with Andrew Scheer,
and it's
right?
raging right now. And this is they're going to duke it out until the summer, but really, and it's going to be a battle, and it's going to leave a lot of scars because you have this socially conservative Western wing of the party, more emblematic of the Stephen Harper years, the Alliance, the Reformists, and you have the old PC, the progressive conservatives, the Mulrooney conservatives, who have shown with this last election that what the Western socially conservatives have in terms of message cannot push through in Ontario and Quebec, which means the way our electoral system is built, there's no way they can form a government without Ontario and Quebec. There's just no way. So there's going to have this civil war. Jean Charest can build that coalition again. Already, I'm hearing that Caroline Mulrooney is going to come out publicly and support Jean Charest's candidacy. So that's Ontario. That's the Ford government. That's a lot. That's a big piece. And Jean Charest, while not sweeping Quebec, he doesn't have to.
No, he doesn't.
But if he can bring 20, 30 seats from Quebec out of 78, that's huge.
Trudy.
I think it's promising to hear that Jean Charest has decided to jump in. I think that he's a very skilled communicator, and I do think he's palatable to the West, because I think that's one of the problems that the Tories have is in looking for someone who can appeal in Quebec and Ontario. You don't want them to appeal only there. The West has to come along, and he's familiar there. I mean, he's been in federal circles before. He was deputy prime minister under Kim Campbell, I believe. So I find it interesting. On a personal level, you'll remember that Jean Charest was dogged by unsavory allegations. None of them ever tested or proved after he left provincial politics. And, do I really want this guy back?
Oh, fair question.
On the political scene.
Fair question. But I mean, just in terms of the Quebec Liberal Party, he is still revered. I mean, the supporters, the rank and file members of the Quebec Liberal Party love Jean Charest.
I can't believe we ran out of time and didn't get to Harry and Meghan. So I just want to mention Jonathan Torrance's tweet yesterday congratulating Harry and Meghan and for opening a muffins in the Scarborough Town Hall. I can't wait to go and try their chocolate chip.